Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Susan Lopresti, and as always, I am so grateful that you decided to join me here today for this class, Being Mindful in the Midst of Chaos. As you all may know, May is Mental Health Awareness, and in light of that, I've been presenting classes that have to do with mental health. And so today I want to talk about being mindful in the midst of chaos. So each one of us has a host of stresses that we all deal with. It's a reality, either at work or at home, in relationships, or in our own head. This class is a place for you to consider new ways to handle that stress in a mentally healthy way with mindfulness and self-care. So while you probably heard of both of these terms, you may not be completely familiar with them. So before we move on, I'd like to define both of them for you. Mindfulness is the quality or the state of being conscious or aware of something. Self-care is the regulatory function which is under individual control. It's deliberate and it's self-initiated. So let's move on from there. Everyday life has lots of challenges. Let's shift the way we cope with them. When it comes to being aware and in control of your mental health, mindfulness and self-care go hand in hand. Before you start taking steps to control the way your mind reacts to chaos and difficult situations, it's important to learn how to be conscious of the chaos and how it affects you. Then you can take measures to mend or redirect your cognitive process. Historically, we haven't, as a society, been taught to give our mental health the attention that it deserves. As a result, we've learned to sweep issues under the rug, grin and bear it through toxic relationships, and or overload our schedules because we're afraid to say no. Make mental health as much of a priority as you do your physical health, especially on this app that we're on, Burn Along. Everyone's working out and doing Pilates and yoga and all these things to support our physical health. But what are we doing for our mental health? So I love the fact that Burn Along is really promoting mental health awareness the month of May. And so when it comes to being aware, right, and in control of your mental health, mindfulness and self-care go hand in hand. Before you start taking steps to control the way your mind reacts to chaos and difficult situations, it's important to learn how to be conscious of the chaos and how it affects you. Then you can take measures to mend or redirect your cognitive process. Historically, we haven't, as a society, been taught to give our mental health the attention that it deserves. As a result, we've learned to sweep issues under the rug, right? Grin and bear it through toxic relationships and overload our schedules because we're afraid to say no. Well, all of that is beginning to change. So let's go on. You cannot fix a problem that doesn't belong to you. Whether you're born into families that have difficult people or you find your way to them through friendships, partners, or co-workers, it's challenging to know how to best respond to someone who brings negativity and unhappiness into our lives. One of the first things that you can do is realize that the behaviors being presented to or reflected at you are not your fault. The way that other people cope with their feelings is part of their mental health, and it is not a reflection on who you are. So I really want you to have that sink into your head throughout this presentation and as you go about your day and you're confronted with difficult people. Consider how differently two people might react to breaking a glass. Let's use that as an example. One person might throw a fit, while the other person might very calmly pick up the pieces of the glass and just move on. Each is a reflection of the person's mental well-being and ability to cope with their own feelings. So you may know two people in contrast like that. I can think of one person who would flip out from breaking a glass, and I could think of another person who would just go about their business. And it's a reflection of their mental health. Don't put it on yourself. Distance yourself from those who bring more pain than joy into your life. One of the most important aspects of being mindful in the midst of chaos is taking measures to eliminate as much of the chaos as possible. Oftentimes, the source of chaos and negativity comes from people we choose to surround ourselves with. While we can't control every interaction that we have, when it comes to our regular interactions, it's our job to develop firm and clear boundaries about what we will and what we won't tolerate. Whether it's a gossipy coworker, an overcritical family member, or a toxic romantic relationship, eliminating interactions with people who bring down your good energy will leave room for more positive energy to enter. And I know it's easier said than done. Break up with friends who don't support you. Not all your friendships are meant to last forever, and that's fine. You have to accept that. While you shouldn't casually discard friendships over minor arguments or inconveniences, you should grant yourself permission to move on from relationships that no longer nourish and support you. If you feel exhausted just by the idea of hanging out with someone, it's probably a sign that you should move on. Take the space that you need from toxic family members. Friends are hard to part ways with, right? But family members are even harder. One of the best recommendations that I can offer is to set limits around the amount of time that you wish to spend interacting with toxic people. Make sure to keep any conversation pleasant, positive, and focused on the person. By keeping the focus of conversation on them, you purposefully are keeping yourself safe from unwanted drama while maintaining the relationship, if that's what you want to do. I mean, you may not want to do that. It may be a lot of work. So it's up to you, and you have to evaluate how important is that relationship. I mean, if it's a parent or a sibling, do you want to cut ties with them, or is it easier just to maintain boundaries with them? We're all on different paths. You have a relationship with everyone you've ever had an interaction with. That relationship could last a moment, a lifetime, or anything in between. In each relationship, you cross paths and you learn from one another. And since each one of us are on different paths, you might only be walking side by side for a little while. You also might cross paths again later on. Understand that throughout your life, there will be many people who you will meet and love and learn from, and that ultimately you play a role in determining how long you walk along a certain path. Learning to say no. In order to cut down on chaos in your life, you have to make it a priority to keep your plate filled with the right amount of work that your mental health can handle. Many times this means learning how to say no. Sure, you might feel guilty at first, right? Especially the first few times that you turn down the people who ask you for favors, but it will get easier with time. As you practice, Remind yourself why you're saying no. Offer those reasons to the person if you feel comfortable doing so. And remember that by saying no, you're in turn saying yes to the things that you want to do and how you want to spend your time and energy, because there's not enough time to do everything that you want to do. So you need to learn to set boundaries and make yourself the priority first. I know it sounds very selfish, but it really will help with your own mental health, especially if you find that you're a little weak in this area. So, you need to be uncomfortable. That's how you build resilience. Like even with training physically, when you first start lifting weights, it's uncomfortable, it's something new, but you're building up stamina and you're building up muscle, and over time it will get easier. And it will be the same with setting boundaries. As you become accustomed to saying no, you'll get stronger at it. Bowing out gracefully, how to exit social situations that are stressing you out. What I mean by that is we've all sat through awkward and draining interactions, yet the line between being polite and saving yourself from the stress of staying too long can be a difficult line to draw, because you could be in a setting where, let's say, they haven't even served dinner yet and you're feeling like you're ready to hightail it out of there. So here are a couple of tips, right? So spending 5 minutes chatting with a person is polite. That's very polite. Spending 5 minutes, how are you? Little pleasantries. 10 minutes is more than enough time. And any longer than that, you have the right to excuse yourself and move on to talk to someone else. However, if you feel that you're in danger, or the person is acting racist or obscene, just say, "Excuse me, I've got to go," and just walk away. You have to build up that strength and that resilience in yourself to be able to do that. You'll be so proud of yourself when you're able to do that. You want to surround yourself with people who support you, right? You know that we've covered all the ways to eliminate excessive external stress and chaos in your life. And I'd like to take a moment to remind you how important it is to keep people close who you love and who love you and support you. Those are the people that you want to surround yourself with the most. And for many of us, it can feel as though there is no one who fits this category. And if this is the case for you, consider reaching out to support groups for people who share the same interests as you, whether in person or virtually. Any positive connections that you can curate will help bring peace to your mind. And you want to create spaces that bring you calmness. So we're done talking about other people. Now let's focus on you and your space. If you ever watched a home makeover show, you know how much a physical space can impact mental well-being. From a cluttered bedroom to a poorly lit office, the spaces that you spend time in directly impact our psychological health. My 3 favorite ways to make a space feel better: ditch the clutter, add more light, and adapt to plants. That's what I'm going to recommend. So curate good energy with positive reminders, like welcome home, happy place, things like that. While you're refreshing your space and you're eliminating clutter, bring in colors, bring in pictures, quotes, anything else that brings you a little bit of joy when you look at it. If you're at a loss of where to start, try creating a mood board or a vision board. Fill it with pictures of things that catch your eye throughout your day. Take some pictures of different things that you'd like to buy. Or you could also go on Pinterest and you could create a collection on there of things that make you feel good. Whatever. Use your imagination, play with it, have fun with it, develop a board, put it somewhere that it's going to remind you. And little by little, as you come across the objects that you want, fill your home with those and eliminate the things that don't serve you, that you don't feel good about, that you're bored of looking at. Whatever it is, get rid of the old. Clutter is very stagnant energy, and it's a topic for another day, actually, about feng shui, but you want to eliminate clutter. That's my main purpose that I'm talking to you about today. Generate positivity by spreading compliments. What do I mean by that? One of my favorite ways to curate positivity is to spread it. Take the time out of each day to do something kind for someone. Compliment a stranger, just, smile at them, hold the door for them, hold the elevator, whatever it is, do something positive, because as you do something positive for someone else, you will make their day and you will feel good about what you did for someone that day. So it's a win-win for both people. Whatever it is, be genuine. Don't be false or fake about it. Be genuine, but do it. Make it a habit of doing that. It creates such a wonderful feeling. Check how you think about others, right? Think about that for a second. Do you find yourself being judgmental towards others? Next time you catch yourself throwing someone some shade, pause and shift your thoughts into something positive about the person or the situation. And I know, especially in work situations, because I've been there for many, many years when I was working, sometimes you're going to have this difficult boss or this difficult coworker, and it will be such a challenge to feel good feelings towards that person. But in the end, what you're really doing is you're helping yourself. So when you start thinking of it like that, I'm doing this for me, not for them, right? It will actually work in their favor as well, because they won't get that negative energy that's coming off of you towards them, but you're also able to remain calm and just feel better about each situation and encounter that you have. So these are some difficult things that you need to start getting comfortable around, but it's important because it's for your mental health more than theirs. Check in with how you speak about yourself. We are all our own worst critics. And after decades of bullying ourselves, obviously, our mental health takes a toll, right? If we're always saying, oh, you're so dumb, I can't believe you did that, no one's going to listen to me, who would believe me, I'm not good enough, I don't make enough money, I'm not smart enough, everyone's smarter than me. If you have that attitude, that's what you're going to attract in your life. Start simple, start slowly, and start talking to yourself in positive ways. So the next time that you look in the mirror or start thinking destructive thoughts, stop yourself and list out a few things that you're grateful for, whatever it is about yourself. It could be the way you walk, the way you smile, the color of your eyes, how you make other people feel. You need to start talking to yourself in a positive way. I remember at one time when I was married, I was in a difficult marriage, and I was walking to my job one day. I started to say, I am a good person. I deserve love. I am a good person. I deserve happiness. I am a good person. I deserve to be treated well. I am a good person. I deserve to be respected. You get the idea. Because in my mind, I was a little bit beaten down and I wasn't feeling too good about myself. And I needed to pick myself up and start thinking of myself as a good person before the other person was going to respect me. And I have to tell you that it did work. It really did work. So keep that in mind. Use your breath as a tool. There are a lot of ways that we can start curating a world around us that brings positivity and pushes negativity away. But stress will still find a way to creep in. It's natural. When that happens, focus on your breathing, slow it down, and try to mimic the sound of waves with your breath. Slow and steady, with a brief pause between your inhales and your exhales. Just start with that. So you could try that for a moment. Just sit with yourself for a moment. Breathe in, hold, release, and just notice your body moving in and out like a wave, right? And have that to start to settle your feelings. Yoga for mental health. Exercise is great for the body. And if you want to take an extra step to connect the body and the mind, yoga is definitely something that you should try. Because yoga practice focuses heavily on the breath. The asanas or movement or poses turn the whole practice into a kind of moving meditation, which is proven to combat stress. Because each move that you make, you're either inhaling or exhaling, and you're focusing on your breath and you're focusing on the pose. And that is a meditative state. So yoga is something that I would recommend for everyone on here listening. And because you're on Burn Along, I'm sure you can find plenty of yoga instructors that have wonderful classes that you could be taking. So you want to find outlets for stress and anxiety. If yoga is not your thing, that's okay. Find something that serves as an outlet to focus your mind in the present moment that you can turn to when you're feeling stressed. That could be cooking, it could be crafting, coloring, petting your pet. I mean, pets bring so much joy to your life. Just holding a pet it does wonders for me. Tending to a garden or to a house plant, taking time in your day to bring your mind away from anxiety and back to the present moment is what mindfulness is all about. So just give it a try. You know, it's a practice like everything else. So don't give up on yourself right away because the practice is just that. You have to keep practicing to continue to get better. You have to practice, 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 and you will get better and you will feel better. Give yourself time to feel your feelings. While it's important to learn ways to cope with stress, your goal shouldn't be to distract you. Instead, find ways to release your thoughts, your worries, and your anxieties. If you have the means to connect with a mental health professional, by all means do so. Otherwise, my suggestion is try writing your thoughts in a journal, getting them out of your mind and into solid thoughts on paper will help you to gain some new perspective. So sometimes when you write it down and you read it and you see it in black and white, it loses some of the power that it has while it's still just going around in your head. Another tip that I tell all of my clients is to keep a gratitude journal. Speaking of journaling, right? One of the best ways to train your brain to think more positively is to practice gratitude regularly. Now, Gratitude rewires our brains so we become more likely to focus on the positives in the world than the negatives. We're not going to become ignorant of danger if we appreciate the positives for a little while. I mean, we're not unrealistic, but we will become more open to the good around us instead of just focusing on the bad, because there's going to be bad. That's a given, right? There's going to be negative things. But as you start focusing on more positive things, your mind shifts. The surroundings around you will become something that you find more gratitude towards. Spend time getting to know yourself. And a lot of people have trouble being alone. So I want to talk about this. This is almost the end of the presentation. I've saved the most important piece of advice for last. Dedicate time to learn how to love yourself. That is the most important thing. Sometimes the best way to practice self-love is to learn how to enjoy your own company. So take yourself out to a movie or a dinner or a solo trip if possible. And I know that a lot of people will feel very uncomfortable doing that. So you may want to just start out with baby steps to this process, but start somewhere. Once you learn how to love and cherish yourself and your worth, everything else will begin to fall into place. It really will. When you are loving yourself and respecting yourself, people will pick up on that. And those people who used to be able to chip at you or, give you some negativity or some sly remarks, they will start backing off because they will see that, number one, you respect yourself, you stand up for yourself, you speak up for yourself, and you let them know that I'm not taking your shit anymore. And they will respect you even more. I want to let you know that this class was put together with some resources that I looked up. So if any of you ever want to know where I got my resources from, please don't hesitate, reach out to me. I would be happy to share them with you. I want to thank you for joining me here today. I appreciate you spending time with me. I appreciate your reviews, your comments. So if you've enjoyed this class and you think it could benefit someone else that you know, please let them know about me. Please follow me also, because when I post a new class, you'll be notified that I've posted a class and you could go and watch it. And it really helps me as well. I appreciate each and every one of you. I do want to say that if you have any questions, any concerns, anything at all, you can email me at susan@susanlopresti.com. You could go to my website, which is www.susanlopresti.com. From there, you can schedule a free 30-minute health assessment with me. You're not under any obligation at all to continue. This is just a free health assessment. You can tell me what some of your challenges are, and I could maybe shed some light on that. You can also, at my website, you can look at all the health coaching programs that I do have available, and you can sign up right from my website if you're interested in partaking in any of those programs. Again, thank you so much. Please don't forget to follow me here. And until the next time, be well, stay happy, and bye for now. Take good care, everyone.